Tiz kela mitzvahs.
How can so many things be the main thing?
Well, it's the ikar of the person, the main rachmanis, the main pain. So there can be, a person can say, the main concept of this class is this idea. The main idea behind the United States of America is this idea. The main idea of being a gardener is this idea. You get the main thing of many different topics. But what's deeper here, and maybe that's what you're going towards, is that the main thing in all these parts is going to be one thing in the Torah. So the main person, the main compassion, the main challenge, the main perfection, the main thing is to leave children in the world. All these main things are all going to be linked. Let's go. Oh man. The main things are always going to be linked. So just pay attention to that as we go through the Torah. It's like if you see words that should indicate certain concepts. So we're going to begin Dalet today. So says the Rebbe, something amazing. And just zooming out a little bit, just so we see what we're up to. We're speaking about compassion. To summarize the entire Torah, if we're sitting in an elevator together. Someone says, give me a Reb Nachman elevator pitch. So we're speaking about leadership requires compassion. You want to lead the world, you need compassion. But your compassion has to be tempered. If a person's compassionate to a wicked person, that's not good. What kind of leadership is that? It's evil. It's also, it's evil.
But then what's AA? Like there has to be some form.
Oh, so we learned that compassion to a wicked person is not to give him more fentanyl. I don't mean that wicked people are fentanyl addicts.
Yeah.
I mean, the person who's addicted to fentanyl, the compassion is, bro, I just feel for you. Here is more fentanyl.
It's the same as a baby mistake. You don't give a baby steak, you don't give a drug addict. So
You give them what they need, which is AA. The compassion, it has to be placed properly. If the compassion is, well, you know what? The guy really says he needs fentanyl or like he's done. I just feel so bad, I really should give him some. So that's evil. So you want to lead, how are you going to do it? But I want to be nice to you, I want to help you. Well, you can't do it through giving him more fentanyl. So how are we going to do it? AA. Bring him to God. There's a power that's higher than me.
So would that be more judgment than compassion? Or would...
That'd be compassion, but it would be compassion with das. And das is a major player here in the Torah. Knowing how to judge, or das has a judgment to it. Do I go like this? Do I go like this? I have to think, what's the best way to help this baby? Well, the answer is not steak. The best way to help this baby is mother's milk. Thank you. Or in the shahakal. And then the Rebbe says, you know who was such a compassionate person was Moshe Rabbeinu. It was Moses. He was the leader. And in the same way that he was the leader, he will be the leader again. He will lead the Jewish people out of exile, as he did in the past, which means you have a messianic energy filling the Torah right now. Mashahaya, hu sheyeh, what was will be. Because Moshe Rabbeinu had true compassion, because he had das. And he was able to give human beings das. Because when you give somebody das, you turn them from looking like a human, but really acting like an animal. And you turn them into human beings. Because it's all about being human. Right, Sagiv? Got to be human. Not just in a human bodysuit, but acting like some animal. It's all about creating human beings. And he brought us a proof to that. And then we said, you know what the biggest compassion is? When Klal Yisrael falls into sinful behavior. It sounds like the Rasha from the beginning of the Torah. If you can get them out of that, that's the biggest compassion. That's the biggest compassion. Because King David taught us, "K'ma'aseh kavod yichbedu mimeni." that like these burdens, that sin is burdensome on a person, they can't even hold it, they can't handle it. Rabbi Moti said last night a beautiful pshat in that. He said, when David HaMelech said, like a burden which is heavy, which is too hard for me to handle, yeah, you'd also feel burdensome if you were inside of a bear costume. If you're inside of a rhino, if you felt like you're acting like a rhinoceros. You're holding like this animal on you because you're acting animalistic. That would also be kind of heavy. You got some elephant, stuff like, that's a bit hard for a human being to carry an elephant. And then the Rebbe said, if we knew how holy the soul is, if we knew, Rabbi Isai, how holy our soul is, from where we come from, and remember this point, because this is an ikr point here. If we knew where we come from our shoyrish all the way up there, if we knew how holy we are, that we're mamish shining, and our neshamas are shining, if we knew where we came from, we would know that we're not shayach, klal loy, we have no shayach, because we're not connected to sin. If we would just know where we come from. Which direction is the Rebbe taking us? Up or down? If we knew where we came from. Sounds like, am I going on SpaceX? Or am I going like into the earth? Where am I going on this journey? If we knew where we came, SpaceX.
Where we came from.
We have a mission to be here.
We're from the top.
What a soul. We're talking about the soul here. If we knew where we came from, Kedushas Yisrael, Ma'ayin Hem Lekuchem, the Yoder Ruchanius, the Dakar Shel Yisrael, we know how fine we are, how refined, how sublime. We know that we're totally separate from any sin in our essence. Where does sin happen? Down here or up there? So if we know that we're totally distant, sounds like, where is he taking us? If you know where you came from, all the way up there, that you're totally separate from Avain. Ein Avain shaykh lem klal loy. And we would know it's not shaykh for us to do sin. And what's the only thing that makes us do it? Like the Rebbe says, because ein adam chayte, a person doesn't do an avera ela shenichnas by ruach shtus, that a spirit of insanity came into a person, and that's why he does a sin. But if he knows where he comes from, it's not shaykh. Okay. So in this section, the Rebbe was like, if you knew where you came from, you're good. You're not shaykh to sin. If I were to stop here, it would sound like what? This world is just a big problem because there's rosh shtus here. This world is one big problem and one big challenge and one big, excuse me for saying, one big biddy evan. Just one big biddy evan. Like, oy gotta make it through this world. How you doing, brother? Getting by. Could be better. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Any vibrancy? Nah. Day by day, You get a could be worse is also. Could be worse. Which means it's bad, but like at least it's not like as worse as it could be. That's already like, it's like a darg of positivity in that guy. So this world is one big time to hop on SpaceX and get out of here. That's what it would seem. If you knew where you come from, it's almost like the Rebbe is like pulling us up. It'd be great if we could just get all the way up there. But then you start Ois Dalid, and something happens here. something moves in the Torah in Ois Daled. Where the Rebbe says, afilu, and even. What's the word afilu mean? And it means, and even this, which means you would have not thought this otherwise. And even this, and even when your time comes for your soul to go up there, oh, that's great. No more Avera. It almost sounds like, okay, this is it. I just had to make it through this world. And when your time comes to go back, oh, great, Rebbe, because that's the time that I'm going to be Ruchak Legamri Me'avin, because that's where I come from. It almost sounds like, okay, good. Yeah, when the time comes, after 120 years, 180 years, Bezrat Hashem, Chaim Tovim, but now it's time. Good, I'm finally out of this battleground. I'm finally finished with all this challenge of this world. I would have thought that's where the move is going. Good. Oh, soundtrack. They're listening. Oh, Birkas HaTorah, Rabbi said. Birkas HaTorah. To learn Torah, you need Birkas HaTorah. Why was the Beis HaMikdash destroyed? They were learning Torah, but they didn't make Birkas HaTorah. For such a thing, it was destroyed. So the Sfarim say is that Birkas HaTorah, making the blessing on learning Torah, why is that so important? Because if you're just learning Torah like this is some academic exercise, that you just want to get some PhD to add to your PhD collection of Talmudic law, because it's interesting, and don't they learn it in South Korea and stuff? Because it makes you smart, because all the back and forth. If you think this is what Torah is, then you've removed the connection point to the Noisein HaTorah, the giver of Torah. And therefore you've removed the point of the Beis HaMikdash, which is the connection, nexus of heaven and earth. Because that when you're learning Torah, this is not just some academic exercise. This is connecting to the Noisein HaTorah. And Birkas HaTorah is framing what the entire experience of learning Torah is. So thank you for the public service announcement to save us from not having a Beis HaMikdash. Pretty good. Wow, big pickups. So Rabbi said, at this point in the Torah, there's a feeling like the Rebbe is saying, okay, now when the time goes to go up. But then the Rebbe makes a move. He says, in the neshama oila mistabekes b'makom sha'oila ba'olam aseliyan. Ooh, sounds good. Sounds great. My neshama after 120 years is going to go up. My neshama starts going up and up and up to the higher worlds. But the Rebbe says, Ein ze tachlis u'shleimis. This is not the purpose. What do you mean not the purpose? I thought that's the whole purpose. Is to go back to where I come from. And all the challenge of this world is one big b'di'evid. Because if I just knew where my soul comes from, then I would know that that's where it's all about. But you know what? It's not about just going up. It's not about just going up. It's interesting. Rabbi Moti pointed out yesterday, he said, why did the Rebbe say, listalik? What's the word? V'afilu k'shemagi zman lihistalik. What does that word mean? Is that word? Why did the Rebbe say afilu k'shemagi zmanu lalot, afilu k'shemagi zmanu lamut? The Rebbe wants something with the histalkus, and it comes up again. Gam be'es histalkus. What's the word listalek mean? Separate. So when I talk about something separate, there's also lisparek. Listalek means something is separate, is coming out. There's a separation here. Something is leaving and something is staying. Bless you. Like when it should go up, but it's leaving something. It looks like the Rebbe, through the word listalik, is pointing out that as something is going up, something is staying. He's not telling you just stam when you go up. He says when something separates, means there's a part that's going up and there's a part that's staying. How do we define death in Torah? The separation of the neshama from the body, from the soul from the body. So there's a soul that's continuing, there's a body, that's it. So even the word listalek is implying that we're not stam just going up. Even though I would have thought that if somebody knew the Kedusha of Yisrael, where they come from, so you're like, Rabbi, SpaceX, let's go. Let's just go back up to the Olam HaSelyonim, back Tachas Kisei HaKovod. The Rebbe slows it down and he says, no, that's actually not the point. The point is, as something is separating and you're going up, Ikar HaShleimus, Tachlis HaShleimus, the true perfection of the person, Shetia Neshama Rak Devuka Lamala, is not what it is. Rak Ikar HaShleimus. You know what the perfection of your soul is? Shehaneshama hi sheve'eshi lamala. That while my soul is up above, tiya lamata gamkein. That while my soul goes all the way up, it's also down here in this world. While my soul goes up, it's also down here in this world. So I think that's the vafilu. And even when this is happening, meaning based on what I said before, I would have thought just get up there. Because if you knew where you come from, if you knew how holy you are, and you're not shaykh to sin, that's not who you are. And this is a world with the Yetzer Hara and Ruch Shtus. This is a world where there's challenges. It's okay, let me just get up there. Let me go to the Olam HaSelyonim. Let me misdabek in the Olam HaSelyonim. The Rebbe says, I'm sorry, my friend. That's not the Ikar Shleimus. The Ikar Shleimus is when you go all the way up and you're all the way down at the same time. Talk about a big rabbi. All the way here and all. He's very big. He's very tall. Long beard. That's long a payas. All the way, your payas go from Tachas Kisei HaKavod all the way down to this world. That's a breast lover right there. Oh man. So we're thinking, okay, Rebbe, how do I do that? Meaning, how do I, if the whole purpose is that my soul goes up, and at the same time, I'm all the way down here. So the Rebbe says, you know how you do it? Al kain sarich, you need to. Sheyasher acharav bracha, you need to leave a blessing. It's interesting, the Rebbe could have not used the word blessing. Ben oy talmud, you need to have children or students. Children or students. And when you do that, kadesh yeshar daitoi lamata, because then if you have children or students, then you've implanted in your children or your students your das, your consciousness. And if you could implant your consciousness in your children and your students, then even when you go all the way up, so your children and your students are here in this world, and your children and your students are continuing you in this world. So I just have a pashut question at this point of the Torah. Does that mean I can't do this now? When I go up, so the main thing is make sure you leave children and students. Which means when I'm up there, okay, Baruch Hashem, I can still be down here. What about when I'm down here? So I have children and students down here, but am I not up there? Meaning, is this only happening once I'm up there and then I left children and students down here? That's just a question to think about as we move through the Torah. The Rebbe only saying, like, don't worry, one day, when the Zman comes, listalek, the time comes for you to separate and go up there. So good thing that you worked on having kids and students, because then they'll continue you, and it's like, now you did it. Now you're up there and down here.
It wasn't so originally up up there and he came down here to...
Mashahayahu Mashiach. It was originally up there. So, but when I was up there, did I have children and students?
No, that's why I had to come down here.
So I have children and students, and then, so when I have children and students though, down here in this world, do I have to wait till I get back up there to be in both places?
Down here from someone up there.
When I'm down here, I'm also up there?
Well, I think
Down here, you're from someone up there.
I'm from somewhere up there.
your soul is...
But then why is it only because she gives like when the time comes, it's almost like, wait for it, here it comes, like that final hurrah after 120 years, and then finally you can really be up there and down here.
It sounds like the ikar while we're down here is to have children and students because that's how you share your data. You said that's the ikar of a human. So the point is that while you are down here, you have the ability to share as much data to people as you can.
Yes.
So that when you do go up, you're still down here.
So yes, so I'm here, I'm not up there yet. Am I up there yet?
Well, you have some connection. It's like you can call home. Like your soul is always like somewhat connected. But then when you feel separated, it's like you're actually flying back home. So you can always talk to home and be connected in some way. But your soul's down here, and it's not 100% there.
So I only activate this only when my soul goes all the way up. Then I activate the
To its fullest potential. But
shleimus.
we're meant to be a spiritual connector between the higher and the
This Torah definitely has spiritual connector. Das is also the whole Indian of Das.
But I have the problem because this is saying that you're only really that connected once you...
It sounds like that. And the neshama starts going up to those places.
But any dots you bring into the world is taking from up and bringing down.
Okay, beautiful. And the Rebbe though before when he said, Misha Yoideh Kedushas Yisrael, somebody knows Kedushas Yisrael, where they come from. Is he talking about somebody who's up there? Somebody who knows the holiness of Yisrael, where we come from. Is he talking about somebody that's up there now? Somebody who knows this? Or is he talking about you and I down here? Somebody who could know down here where we come from, which means he must be shaykh to up there to know where we come from. Sounds like there's something about I could be down here but know what's going on. Was tutzach in Himmel. What's going on in the upper worlds.
You can call home from anywhere in the world, then you can come communicate where you're not actually there. So it's like when you're traveling overseas, you can always talk to your family wherever you are. So you're always connected to source. You never 100% away. But then when it's time to separate and actually go home, then you go home and then you're actually source and everything that you left behind in your travels is.
Could I ever be completely home while I'm here? But this is not a physical thing. This is a consciousness. Can I totally be home here? But only when I mamish go.
How the Rambam explains it, he says your soul despises being down here in your body. There's nothing about this physical world that gives our soul any bit of yes.
Sounds like as we're going to learn this Torah that Rav Nachman's going to say that this is where the action is. That it's actually the soul could be poyalois and make big moves over here. D1H this world.
It's the only place that can make moves.
So therefore I must enjoy it. At least I don't.
So let's see. We're going to learn in a moment that Hashem, this is his ikr. There's the word ikr again. His ikr pleasure is when we're poyalois in this world. Because he's got enough angels up in Shemayim to do what he needs. So let's just proceed, responsibly, like they say. And therefore we need to leave over a bracha, which that word is fascinating to me. It maybe connects to the fact that later in the Torah, the Rebbe is going to talk a lot about parnasa, about money. I'm sure all the Chavra are going to say, the Jews are always talking about money. They love that one. It always comes back to money, doesn't it? So the Rebbe is using the word bracha, which is fascinating. You could have just said, And therefore, you need to leave over a ben or a talmud. No, you need to leave over bracha, ben or talmud, a blessing. Which one thing you see is that your students and your kids are blessings. Your students and your kids are blessings. They're blessings.
Is it a blessing for you or a blessing for the world? If you're leaving this, then they're telling me it's like, I'm leaving this for you.
What are you saying? Right now in the Torah, is the blessing for him or the blessing for the world?
For him.
Sounds like in Pashtus, it's for him. There's a blessing because you know how you have the shleimus of your soul, is you're up there, you're down here. That's the perfection of your soul. But we always have to keep in mind that the whole Torah is talking about that Moshe Rabbeinu is oisek b'yeshuvah shel olam. He's all about building the world up. So it's about humanity. It's about team humanity. It's about the world being filled with b'nei Adam. Not people that seem to look like people but don't act like people. Because they don't have das. So let's go on in the Torah. Rabbi Yisai, Kadesh Yishar Daitoi. Why do I want this? That my consciousness stays lamata gamkein. That my consciousness should stay down here be'eshin istalik lamala. When my soul goes up, that my consciousness stays down here below. Kamoisha Omar Chazal, like the Gemara says in Balvas Rabbi Yisai, a pasuk from King David. Asher ein chalifa islamai. The simple meaning of the pasuk is that the wicked people, ein chalifa islamo, they don't consider the time that they're going to switch, i.e., switch from being in this world and go up to the world to come. They don't consider the day that things will transition for them, and therefore they just party it up in this world. Toga, 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 toga. Oh, you're right. Does anybody hear that guy that would start the toga chant? You don't have to say. I still love you. There's always tshuva. So that's the simple meaning of the pasuk, is that the wicked do not consider what's going to happen afterwards. He's talking about people that were chasing him, people that were trying to kill the tzaddik emes, and they don't realize that their end is going to come. So they don't consider it. The Gemara makes a drasha on this. What's the drasha of the Gemara? A very powerful drasha. The Gemara says, Asher ein chalifa islamoi, that not do they have a substitute. That people leave the world and they don't leave a substitute. They don't leave anybody behind to continue their legacy. So who is this person that I'm referring to who doesn't leave this substitute behind? Who should he leave behind to continue his legacy? So the Gemara says there are two opinions. Chad Amar Ben, v'Chad Amar Talmud. One opinion says he doesn't leave a substitute, he doesn't leave a legacy behind. So one opinion says he had no children. The other opinion says he didn't have any students. Which, by the way, that's a very interesting machloikis. Is it a machloikis? Seems to be. Chad Amar Ben, v'Chad Amar Talmud. One says he didn't leave any students. One says he didn't leave Ben, any children. Do they agree with each other that you should have both? Is
children or is it
son? He had a son. He had a son, but his son died young.
But he didn't leave it.
So Ramoti told me last night a very deep thing, that his son, he had one son, his son died young. And Reb Nachman said that if he would have been Zoicha, the world, that his Ben would have been the tachlis of a Talmud, because you got a Ben who's also a Talmud, the Mashiach would have come. If you could have a Ben who's mamish a Talmud, then Mashiach would have come. But the world wasn't ready for it. So he had a Ben. He had a Ben. So what is this machloikas? I want you just to keep this in mind as we go through the Torah. Because it sounds like the Rebbe is going to say a lot here. Ben oy Talmud, ben oy Talmud. Did he leave a son? Did he leave a student? It doesn't have to be one. It can be many. Especially when we learn the Torah here, that it's all about giving them your das. And if it's all about you, like Moshe Rabbeinu, fill the world with people. It's not stam and natalist. Moshe Rabbeinu is not stam and natalist. Moshe Rabbeinu is making sure that the human beings are filled with das. Atolei solodas. Ki Shemu Elokim Einai Milvadar Ato. The whole place goes wild. So Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that's giving us das. And his whole life is just to give us das. And he's oiseg b'yeshuva shalayim. And he's doing that for everybody, filling the world with das. So is Moshe Rabbeinu making Talmidim? Banim? What is this machlokes here? Chad amar ben, chad amar Talmud. So then we go through it a little bit. Ki a Talmud mekabel das harav. I understand a Talmud. Because the Talmud, what defines the Talmud? Is that he's receiving the das of the Rebbe. If he's not, a Talmud's mamish getting the das. That's what makes him a Talmud. Is the ben necessarily a Talmud?
No.
Als das?
You're not a child. I'm children in the house. There's nothing from you. You're still a child.
A Talmud's always going to have das. Ki a Talmud mekabel das harav. Gama ben. So this is Lafi the Shita that says, I understand now, Asher ein Chalifo Islamoy, that somebody doesn't leave behind a legacy. So one opinion says that it's a Talmud. One opinion says it's a ben. So I understand when you say Talmud, if the whole thing is that you're leaving your das, because you could be up there and down here at the same time, because you are still here, because your students who are receiving your das are going around and teaching your Torah. So there I understand that a Talmud makes sense. So the Rebbe here says, Gama ben, bevadai ein maila kishenishar ben Rasha chas v'shalom. Lefi that day of Talmud. So he says, what, you don't hold a ben? So well, if he's a Rasha, then he's not being Mekabel the das. I'll be moide that it's having a ben is good to have here. But not if he doesn't receive the das. The maila of the Talmud is he mamish has the das. Per force, because he's a Talmud.
Meaning it's better to not leave behind a son who is wicked than to have one at all. Like it's worse to have a son who is wicked than to have a son.
No.
Doesn't choose, I think.
Well, when you have a ben, you have a responsibility now. A real responsibility to teach him your das. They tried. They tried very hard. They tried very hard to give him das.
Your father gives you life in this world, whereas your Rabbi gives you life in the world to come. So when you have a ben, you're just, I guess, providing life in this world. But when you have a student, when you have a Talmud, you give them das that not only connects them here in this world to the upper worlds, but also brings them into the world to come.
Meaning that your duty as a father is to do both.
Definitely. We're going to see. We're going to see a very interesting move the Rebbe is going to make, where he's going to bring another Gemara that says, and Chazal say, anybody who teaches somebody Torah, Ki'ilu Asoy, it's like he gave birth to him. So I don't want to jump ahead too much. But what do you mean? So every Talmud is a ben. It says you did give birth to him. Yeah, Harry?
Not like it says in the Torah when it says Abraham and Sarah left with Haran with all the souls that they made. And it mentions
It's a nefesh asher osu b'charim. They were like birthing. And they were Talmidim. These were Talmidim. So wait a second. So isn't every Talmud a ben? Lefi that Gemara? And Lefi Avim and Sarah. A nefesh asher osu b'charim. Like they birthed all these people. So what's the machlekes here? A ben, a Talmud? So the Rebbe says, Ve'ikr, again, ha'ikr, lahasher ben, she'bechinas Talmud gam kein. That's the ikr. Is it better to have a Talmud who has your das, or a ben that has your das? Is one better?
A ben, you'll become a Talmud. How do you have a son? You can't have a Talmud. You have to grow a Talmud.
We were like hypothesizing last night. Like, why do I have to have banim? Why couldn't if the whole purpose of a ben is just that he's a Talmud, because he has das, why couldn't the Eibishter have made a reality where kids just like pop out of the earth? I don't need it. Why do I need to have kids? It's like, just think about it for a second. What's the mitzvah? If the mitzvah really is about making them a Talmud, let kids grow on trees or something, and maybe the first one had to come, the Eibishter made the first one, and then the rest just grow on trees. And then your mission is to just make them all into Talmidim, which is like Banim. Why do I need to have kids? I'm creating them by teaching them Torah.
The child is like the ultimate of planting and building.
Why do I have to do that? Just let me make Talmidim.
Just be like a Shem.
Yeah, you're forming and creating.
We just said, the Gemara says, anybody who teaches is Ben Chaver Torah. You teach, it's interesting, the Ben, the son of your buddy Torah. It's like you birthed him.
But Hashem did more than just teach us. He literally created us life. He's like, that is like a whole process.
So there's a Mila and the Ben. Is that the opinion that says, Asher ein Khalifa Islam or Ben The Ben is on a higher level, but it's riskier.
It's something that you're going to learn. Like you're going to learn something. There's something you cannot learn if you don't have kids. Like you could have 1,000 students, but having one child is completely different to all of those students.
It's a different responsibility.
This is responsibility. I thought it's all about das.
Yeah, well, you're going to gain so much das from that.
I'm gaining from them, or it sounds like I have to give them das.
Well, you're learning, and then you can learn to teach them what you just learned.
Okay, it's saying I could only get messages from a Ben that will teach me that I'll teach him, but I could never get from a Talmud. Yeah, Harry?
It's a different relationship between teaching a son and teaching a Talmud, because there's, by nature of, obviously not all the time, by nature of them being the same blood, like you created your son, there's going to be more of a connection between your knowledge and your soul and his.
Something's deeper, something is... The Rebbe is going to go in that direction. There's something that's like, it's mamish you. It's mamish you. We're talking about the Iker Shleimus is when you're up there and then you're down here. So Ben is mamish you. It's mamish you. The Talmud has your das. But it's not you. But the Gemara says, Kilo Asoy. It's hard because the Gemara says that it's like you made him. So he is a Ben. So what's the difference between the Ben and the Talmud? So the Ben you'll say is mamish you. The Talmud's not mamish you. The Gemara said that you made him by giving him das, by teaching him Torah. It's a nefesh asher osu b'char, and they're making these people. So let's see a little bit weiter. Yeah, Yisrael.
I would also say that for your son, you have to put a lot more pain and effort into
Ikra Yisrael.
like not only the pain that he's going to cause you, like stress-wise, you get good gray hairs early, but
I know. Yeah.
like watch your wife like be in so much pain for however long it takes, like all these so much effort goes into bringing someone to the world, and then some responsibility, and it's your blood also on top of that. Now
A little bit like Daniel and Dylan is saying, is that they're teaching me.
A son can't leave you. A Talmud can leave you. A son can't leave you. A son is like tied to you.
A Ben is a Ben. A Ben is a Ben. So let's see. Ule idach, and the other opinion. Mandamar dai betalmud. What also is so interesting, dai betalmud sounds like it's enough that you would only have talmidim. Was that the machlokes? Asher ein chalifa Islam. I mean, if you got to pick one, what's the one? As if to say, like, dai betalmud. All you need is a Talmud. Why? Ki ma'achar she'ikr, again, ikr hu kadesh yashar dait ba'olam. The whole point is that you're leaving your das, your consciousness in the world. Al kein dai gam b'talmud levad. All you need is a Talmud. Ki ze ikr shleimus. That's the ikr shleimus. She yashar dait ba'olam hazeh. That your consciousness stays in this world, that even when you're up there in the Olam Elyonim, you're also down here. Gam be'eishis talkus sheneshama olamala. And then the Rabbi uses another language again. Kimi sheyoidea ktsas b'yidiyasa yisborach. And if somebody really knows a little bit of God's consciousness. Now we had that right before. Kimi sheyoidea kedushas Yisrael. Somebody who knows the Kedusha of Yisrael. And now the Rebbe says, someone who knows a little bit. It looks like Kedushas Yisrael you could know, but Yidiyasa Yisborach you could only a little bit know. Hu Yodeya, he would know. Now what a line here. She'ikar tanugim v'shashuim shel Hashem Yisborach, the main pleasure. You can't even translate the word shashuim. Is rak shanachnu ma'olam hazeh. The pleasure, kaviyonchel of God, is when you and I are in this world, hashafel, this lowly, gashmi, Hollywood, Netflix, Megushim, Times Square world, sloppy Joes, gashmias, mamish. When we're in this mamish, gashmi world, that's right. And what? Negadelu nekadei shmo yisborach. And we can make God's name great in this world. So wait a second, Rebbe. I thought it was somebody who knows Kedushas Yisrael, where we come from, and goes all the way up. And in Ois Dalet, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, when it comes that time, the main thing is to be down here. And now not only that, the main thing is mamish here. So why am I going up? Let me stay down here. Let me stay down here. Like Saul Blinkoff said yesterday, that he was drawing Winnie the Pooh. You know, Disney artists like hide stuff. So he put a mezuzah on the door for him. He says it was Winnie the Pooh, but now it's Winnie the Jew. Stay down here. Be Makadesh, Winnie's little, tree house. Be Makadesh this world. I didn't see the movie, but apparently the mezuzah's on the door there.
Yeah.
It's there?
He's actually Jewish.
Is Winnie Jew?
Oh, this is brilliant.
So in that movie, Winnie's Jewish.
There's an article on the HC you wrote about.
Rashi talks about it.
So here, the ikar is to be down here. Mekadesh Shmo Yisborach down here. In a world that seems devoid of God, to bring God consciousness into it. I'm not suggesting you have to tag up all, the Winnie the Pooh things and put mezuzah there. I'm just saying that's just like a remez shabo. That's a hint. Yeah, Harry? What did you say?
The Rabbi said that there's like this kind of this parity of both things having to exist, where your soul has to be in Shemayim, but you also have to. The reason why you're here is because you leave a piece of it down here.
Yes, and down here is where the ikar pleasure is of God, that you could reveal His godliness in this world. V'zeh ikar, again, ikar tanugim v'shashuim shel Hashem Yisborach. Kamoi she'omrim, and he quotes us from the Musaf, Yom Kippur, Ve'oviso tehila. Hashem, you desire praises, you love praises, not from the angels up there. You desire praises megushe afar mikrutse chaymer, from mounds of dust and lumps of clay. Big lump of clay, boys. It's gain season, bulking season. Just more lump on that clay. Like, boop, 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 boop. That's where the Iker Shashuim is. When a bunch of lumps of clay can proclaim, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Ata Reis Eladas. Ki Hashem Elokim. Ein Oid Milvadoi. Yesh Elokim Sholet Ba'aretz. Hashem Elokim. That's the Iker. Ki Hashem Yisborach. Yesh Lo Yisrofim V'chayes V'oifanim V'oilomes Elyonim Shem Oiv Demoiso Yisborach. Hashem has no shortage of angels that are up in the higher worlds, singing 1,000-part harmonies with 1,000 mouths and 1,000 tongues on each mouth, singing each one a different harmony. There's no shortage of service of God in the higher world. The Iker is, though, the Krutzei Chomer, a bunch of clay men praising God, connecting to God, being aware of God. Ve'afal pikein Iker hatanug v'shashuim shaloi k'she'oil lamalo ha'avoida shel oilam ha'shav alazeh. When you and I in this world can be connected to God. How do you do that? With a ben or a Talmud. With das. So all these layers are now adding to the story. V'yal kein says that Rebbe tzrich lahasher acharav ben a Talmud. Again, ben oy Talmud. Kadei sheyishar daita lamata. That your das is down here. Sheyoir. There's the word or again. We saw or before. We saw or. What do we see or before, Chaim? What do we see or in the Torah? By Moshe Rabbeinu. Ki yu posach lanu or hadas. He opened up or. A das is or. The light of das. There's something about this consciousness about light. Sheyar b'bnei olam hazeh shafel. The main thing is that being down here, you could lift up the clay people and turn them into human beings. Ki kishenishar daita lamata. Because when your das is down here, al de benoi Talmud nechshav. It's like ki'ilum atzmai mamish nishar ba'olam. It's like your mamish down here. When your das is here, it's like you're here. And your mamish doing kirov on all the clay people. And you're letting clay people become animated and talk to God. That's the Iker Shashuim. So what do we have so far today? Yes?
One of the things that makes it seem, or the Rabbi might be talking about, is that there's a difference between being a parent and being a father. And the fact that we see that you desire praise for mounds of dust from lumps of clay. In the sense that we as fathers are the clay. And it's our duty to shape these mounds of dust into clay. And the way that we do that is through passing down our dust, is through ensuring that they have the tools, the mayim. How do you make clay? You add water to dust to make it into clay. And the mayim is the Torah. And that we should shower our children in Torah so that they can become the clay people that serve Hashem.
Very beautiful. I like the movement from dust to clay. I like that movement through the water, through the mayim of Torah.
Is it just like simply just shower them in Torah, or do you like shower yourself in Torah and let them see the Torah?
We're going to see that.
Is there like a concept of pushing them away?
Yeah, the Rebbe later is going to say, if you want to do this, you have to be doing all this yourself. If you want to be able to teach this, it has to be coming from you.
You have to be a clay person first.
A clay person who's animated.
What about if there's no separation? Because in this physical world, like separation is only an illusion. So what if we just add the dust onto our own clay pile? Like, what if you see the whole world as one giant ball of clay, and everyone's like new is it's just dust, and you can bring it into your own clay pile, like, rather than like separating it.
You see what the Rebbe is doing? He's getting in your mind. He's like opening up these vistas of thinking, of thought. And the Rebbe came to the world and he said that I'm the big doctor. This is not medical advice. The Rebbe said that this is all medicine for the soul, learning these Torahs. It's where it takes your mind. And you think the Rebbe is talking about something here, and meanwhile over here he's doing open heart surgery, he's healing things, and he's moving things. Meanwhile you're handling like clay people, and dust, and water, and clay, and das, and rachamim. And meanwhile there's a whole surgery happening. So it's important to know that this is medicine here. This is medicine for the soul. It's medicine for the soul. And the more that you're thinking in the Torah, you're writing chidushim. That's why there's space here. Write your chidushim. This should be filled with your thoughts and with your yearnings. Make your Torahs into tefillahs and your tefillahs into Torahs. So Rabbi Sai, what do we see today? We saw that somebody who knows the Kedusha of Yisrael, where we come from, if we just knew the Kedusha of Yisrael, that we're all the way up there. So Rebbe would have thought that it's all about just get up there. But then when we said when you come to the Olamas Eliyonim, that's not the Shleimus. That's not the perfection that you should be seeking. The perfection that you should be seeking is that you leave a ben or a Talmud. That you leave your das also in this world. So that while you're all the way up there, you're all the way down here at the same time. And the ikr is that you have people who are continuing your das in the world. And that's the ikr yishuv ha'olam of Moshe Rabbeinu, of a world of bnei Adam. A world of people that know Ata Hareis Alodas Ki Hashem Elokim Ein Oid Milvadai. And I could do that through the Ben or the Talmud. And we learned also that every single Talmud could be a Ben. Every Talmud could be a Ben. Because when you teach, it's like you're making them. And we want that a Ben should also be a Talmud. Because the Ikr is the Das. And the Ikr is not being up there, but the Ikr is coming down here and making clay people into ones who are praising Hashem. Because Hashem has no shortage of angels, Srafim, Vechayis, all the way up there. He's not interested in a bunch more angels. He's interested in clay people becoming angels. Of turning, and remember the whole Torah here is turning Chayis into Bnei Adam. People that are acting like animals into people. What are animals? Animals are also, in a certain way, like an angel, because they're programmed. They're programmed. Angels are NPCs, but on a very high darga. Animals are NPCs on a low darga. The power of the human is going from the lowest NPC and becoming able to choose. And that's the Iker Tanugim and the Shashuim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The greatest pleasure is that in this Olam HaShuffle, in a low world, that the world can proclaim Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim, Hashem Elokim, Ein Oid Milvadai, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. So Rabbi said we should mamish be zoicha. We should have the tremendous merit of being Bnei Das. People of Das, we should be zoicha to have bonim, to have talmidim, to have our Das here in this world, that it continues on, that the Das is helping megushe afar and krutze chomer, mounds of dust and lumps of clay to become lebedik, to become alive once again. To have real rachmanis through the das, and to know how to use the rachamim, and that once and for all the whole world will be filled. Ki yamalia aretz deya es Hashem kamaim liyam nechasim. And we'll have the Beis HaMikdash, which is the mokum of das, of connecting Shamayim va'aretz, the place where heaven and earth are kissing. Here in Yerushalayim, the Yira Shalem, Yerushalayim, the absolute perfect Yira, the shleimus of Yira, which the Rabbi is going to get into, Yira Shamayim, the Yira Shalem Yerushalayim. And that will be the Mokum of Das. That will be the Mokum, Yamali Arts Des, Mayim. That's the Mayim that we're sprinkling on the clay people. And we're making them into Bnei Deya. We're making them into people of Das. V'zarakti aleichem mayim tahorim utahartem. The waters of purification. The mei hadas. Ein mayim ala Torah. The Torah is Das. Das Torah. To be connected to the Das of Torah. To be connected to the Tzaddik Emes. Im ein loy das havdola minayin. If a person doesn't have das, he can't make any separation. Mishir der kedushas Yisrael. Kedusha is das, is havdola. But at the same time that I know the mokum that Yisrael lakuchim, at the same time I come all the way down here to this world, to the megushech ofar and klutzei chomer, the mounds of dust and lumps of clay, and I make human beings out of the chayas. It's interesting also, the angels are called chayas, animals. There's chayas up there and there's chayas down here. And that you can wake up those that are acting like chayas, like NPCs, and mamish red pill the oilim, Rabbi say, and turn the world on to das mamish. That they should know that Yesh Elokim Shalit Ba'aretz Ein Oid Malvadoi. There's nothing but you, Hashem. And the ultimate Rebbe that will come to teach us this will be Mashiach Tzidkeinu, Rabbi Yisai. And the Mashiach will come and we'll see the Binyan Beis HaMikdash with Mashiach Tzidkeinu, the Kibbutz Galius, that everyone will come back. Ma'arba Kanfei Sa'aretz. May it happen soon in our days. Amen ve'amen. Awashreinu maktohakeinu manayim go'aleinu Ashreinu maktohakeinu manayim go'aleinu Let's go! La 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 la. Ay ay ashreinu matogeh shezachi lekarev leRabbeinu. Ashreinu matogeh. Ay umanayim goraleinu. La 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 la. Hey la 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 la. Hey la 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 la. Hey la 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 la. Ay ay ay. Shaharit. Kol tuv Rabbi. Hatzlacha Rabbi.